الآن نشوف شاشتك. بس
طيب.
افتح الباوربوينت وكل شيء يكون
وين
كيف
كيف اعمل له شير؟ هذا السؤال هنا.
الآن أنت مسوي شير، نقدر الآن نشوف شاشتك.
اوكي ممتاز. شو سلايدز
واضحة.
دقيقة ثواني معي. السلام عليكم شباب. أنا ما أعرف إذا أنا منصور مذكور، سنة ثالث نيوروسيرجري في جامعة تولين في أمريكا. حبدأ إن شاء الله سنة رابع بإذن الله بعد 3 أسابيع. محمد ورزان كلموني أعطيكم نبذة بسيطة عن نيوروسيرجري في أمريكا. إذا كان في سؤال أو أسئلة نأخذها في نهاية المحاضرة، ولو تبغوا أي سؤال أثناء ما إحنا ماشيين by session feel free to ask any questions. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طبعا neurosurgery, it's give me a second there, let me just take that. Okay. طبعا neurosurgery شباب, as you know, it's one of the most exciting field of medicine. Because of this, it's very competitive. Neurosurgery في أمريكا طبعا مثل أي مكان تاني 7 years program followed by fellowship. طبعا السيرتيفيكيشن في أمريكا مختلفة شوية عن باقي الأماكن. يعني you have to finish your residency program. أثناء ما تعمل residency you have to finish your written exam اسمه APNS, which is American Board of Neurosurgery. Once you finish your APNS, when you finish your residency training, at that point you're going to be qualified. You're going to be like board qualified, but you're not board certified. So in order for you to be board certified, you have to practice in the US for 2 to 3 years and sit for the oral board exam, which is 2 to 3 years on minimum to get 125 cases. So, and then once you submitted your 125 cases as an attending in the US, then you have to sit for the oral board exam. And then at that point, if you pass the oral exam, then you're going to be board certified. And then every 10 years, you're going to renew your certification. طبعا process in residency start with the neurosurgery. طبعا هي أحد is a matching program. Is a part of the national resident matching program, which is called the NRMB. في نفس الوقت application has to go through ERAS system. I'm sure all of you guys will have lectures about NRME and ERAS and all that stuff. طبعا application usually open in September of 15th of every year. A match take place after that in March for the position that are available. Residency start July of next year. So ERAS application, it's a very like stressful and time-consuming application. We're gonna go and cover that in a little bit. But you have to have your personal demographics, photos, CV, USMLE scores for applications, personal statement, letter of recommendations, and also home institution dean, which is the dean of the medical college. The recommendation also, I recommend for you guys to have your USMLE completed. Step 1 and step 2, CK and CS is very important because for us, we consider an IMG, which is international medical grads, which is different than the senior US students, which is the US graduate, and they have citizenship. So the story a little bit different between us as an IMGs, because you have to have ECMG certificate in order for you to apply like any other residency. Letter recommendation is very important. You have to have at least 3 letter recommendations from neurosurgeons, well-known neurosurgeons. وحابة تكون من أمريكا طبعا. السعودية طبعا للأسف الشديد ما يعرفوا الاتندنج تبعونا يعني إلا نادرا، بخصوص الناس الأعلام الكبار. لكن most of the attendings, unfortunate, no one knows most of the neurosurgeons back home. And also, you have to complete your application early. Most of the programs, they offer interviews on a rolling basis. I mean, first comes, first serve. And once they filled all the interview spots, sometimes they close and they're not gonna call for any further interviews. So, طبعا بالنسبة للapplications والprograms, usually الأمريكان نفسهم لما يقدموا students يقدموا on average about 30 to 35 programs, and I will come into that in details. But for us as an IMGs, we have to apply pretty much for most of the programs. ما عدا California, a little bit tricky. because you have to have more documentation. You have to have something called batal letter, which is the to get the license for California before you apply. And no one going to look into your application with that batal letter. But my interviews, as I mentioned, is mainly by invitation. You have to also have your ranking list, and your ranking list that's usually submitted by sometimes late February. So once you finish your interviews, you're gonna submit your ranking list. A result of the match usually mid of March, as we spoke. This is a timetable. This is my suggestions for you guys. I'm gonna talk about my experience at the end. I made some mistakes when I started this, which is I finished my UCMLE steps after I finished medical school, which wasn't the right decision. So for you guys, if you guys still in the early medical school halfway, I would recommend for you guys to finish the UCMLE steps. Like third year, early fourth year, you can take your step one. But sixth year, after you finish, before you start your internship, you have to take your step 2 CK and CS. During the summertime, try to take the benefit of it. Design like a curriculum, including at least 1 year short rotation, request letter recommendation. يكون كويس لو كان كمان تاخذها من أمريكا يكون مرة ممتاز. I know someone who's graduated from Saudi Arabia, but he's not a Saudi. He's a Syrian guy. He matched into neurosurgery in the U.S. I mean, he was coming to the U.S. every single summer, spending some time doing research, doing publications, and getting letter recommendations. And an internship, tried to perform away rotation and sub-internship in neurosurgery, more specifically in the United States. If you're interested in the United States. But on board scores, I can't emphasize on this enough. I mean, I'm sure you guys hear about this a lot, and it's very, very, very important. It's the most objective comparison for all the applicants. The good news that step 1 right now from next year, 2021, it's not going to be scores, it's going to be pass and fail, which is the most struggle for most of the students. But CK, you have to have a very good score. So in order for you to apply, you have to have very good scores, and usually good scores in neurosurgery, you have to have at least 240 and above in step 1 and step 2 CK. Step 2 CK, most of the programs, they have the cutoff at 45 too as well. I'm going to come into the average for neurosurgery shortly. So if you get less than 220, less than 22 score, so you need to seek advice on whether you have to reasonable chance in match or not. What is the best way to improve your application, and how to apply an advantage of away rotation. People do match with this score, but only when they have very solid application. So if you have very solid application, very good research experience, and second degree, you're going to match in neurosurgery even with low scores. If you have between 220 and 230, your score will not stand out to programs, and your clinical performance on away rotation will become very important. That's why, as I mentioned, away rotation is very important. You have to come to the States, spend some time with some programs. And also when you choose programs, you have to play that very smart. If you need any suggestions for which program you have to visit and spend some time, I'm more than happy to help with that too. So seek trust and advice on what is the best leverage on your application and which program you should rotate and apply to. People do match every year, even with due scores. If you score between 230 and 240, these are solid scores, but you should do well in your clinical performance too. This alone won't be sufficient for you to match on top of the applicants they have. Right now, people scores in 60s and 70s. Excellent clinical performance and also strong research is also needed. But if you score in 240s and 250s, this is very good scores. Your application will be considered pretty much most of the programs. But still, because we are IMGs, we have to have something like stand out in our application. But if you score above 250, your board scores is outstanding, and for sure you will stand out. Research and mentor. I mean, I can't emphasize in this enough. I mean, I can help with research and all that, but this is a quick review. Research is a very core part of neurosurgery training and practice, and neurosurgery is innovative and growing field. So we just begin to start the brain and its function, and there's a lot of research going on. It's also excellent that you can learn about the field by just doing research, but you have to have an interest in research specifically. Clinical high quality papers is always encouraged. Basic science, clinical research, If you have a basic science paper, that's also great, because not a lot of students they have a clinical they have like basic research. Clinical project should be with neurosurgeons. If you have your faculty at the medical school, just ask them to be involved in some projects and try to help out. The faster you turn the papers, the more involvement you're going to get. So try to get papers out as fast as you could. First authorship is clearly desirable if you can do that. Strongest applicant have several like neuroscience investigation publication, usually completed within the first 3 years of the medical school. So try to do, every time I'll try to be involved in some projects too. The average number of abstract, presentation, publication for those matching into neurosurgery was 18.3. And also I'm gonna show you some data shortly. So for you as an IMG, you have to stand out. You have to have more than that, even double, triple, to be honest with you, in order for you to match in the US. Our rotation and internship, we spoke about that. And also, by the way, you have to have a good mentor to help you through the process. Away rotation and internship, if any one of you guys are interested in away rotation in summer or doing some sort of rotation during internship, most of the program now, they have the visiting student application website. So you have to go and apply through that website, but not all the programs, they enrolled in that website. In some program, they have separate individual application process. So you have to go through that. So neurosurgery residency is small in size. I mean, we know each other. We in the US, pretty much we know each other. We go to conferences, we meet each other. So we know, even attending level, same thing. So matching someone who is not intelligent and skilled, but fit as well and will excel with the team is the goal of nearly every program. If you demonstrate this over a month, when you do a long rotation, program director will be eager to have you. So, but you have to show interest, you have to show in time, and you have to do your best during that month. And if anyone has any questions about that specifically, I'm more than happy to give more details about that process. So I'm trying to bring here some data from 2020 for the past year. This is the table, as you guys can see here. So this is the PGY1 positions I highlighted for you guys in neurosurgery. This is for the MD, this is for the DO, which is the medical school, because we have two different medical schools in the US, either medical doctors or doctor of osteopathy. So this is the data showing how many number of programs, number of position offered, unfilled programs, like how many position that was unfilled by the end of the matching process. And how much of those position was a senior, how much of those was a DO. And then the number of matching, the percentage of matching, and the number of position that was ranked. If you look at neurosurgery, the number of program is only 112 program in the US compared to other specialties. And the number of position offer is 232, which is very low. This is PGY1 every year. It's been increasing very, very slowly and steadily, but it's been around that number every year. The number of unfilled is 0. So like all the position is matched in the US. And how many of those, number of applicant MD senior is about 273 applicants, even more than the number of the spot that are available. And how much of those match is 203 out of the 232. So only 30 spot that was left. And how much of those was DO is 3, and about like maybe 25 position or something. This is for the international medical grads, either US graduate or non-US graduate, but I will come into that. So this is just an idea how many of the positions and how many of the programs and how many the matching process and the percentage of each MDs and DOs. And also I'm gonna show you the international medical grads. This is also the same thing, the number of position, number filled, the number of the MD like senior, which is the 4th year medical students in the US. MD graduate, that means he graduated, but he didn't match the year before, so he currently doing some sort of prelim year or research year, and then he applied the year after. He called MD graduate. It's only 8 of them was accepted. 3 was DO, and this is for you guys. This is very important. A US IMG, I mean, he is a US citizen, but he did medical school outside the US. Especially for those who usually did not like accepted into medical school in the United States because of low MCAT scores. They go somewhere else cheaper. and then come back to the US and apply. 6 of them match into neurosurgery. And this is our category. Non-US, we're not citizens, but we are considered IMG, National Medical Graduate. There's only 12 match in 2020, sorry. And then I'll come into that in details. Number unfilled is 0. And this is the, let me just drag that, sorry guys. And this is the same thing and over the years. You can see in 2020, 19, 18, and 17, and 16, see the number of positions has been increasing slowly. 32, the past year, before that 32, which is the same, 25, the one before that, 18, before that, and 16. So the positions is not really increasing that much, but around the same number every year. So the next slide that we have is the same percentage over years. See how many of those is the MD filled the position. 87% of the position was a fourth-year medical students who graduated from the US. They filled the position. 91% of the year before, same thing. So pretty much also same similar percentage every year. And this is the IMGs and non-IMGs, same thing as well. If you look at neurosurgery here, last year 232, and then the number of the US, sorry, the non-US IMGs who match into neurosurgery is only 13 out of that. So which is very, very small number. And this is not only, this is from across the world, from every single country they applied into neurosurgery. Same thing here, but I'm gonna repeat myself, but this is also similar idea and similar data showing the same thing. This is the rank, but I'm not gonna go into that in depth, but I'll just pass that. And this is the questionnaire showing the survey to the people who match into neurosurgery, as you see here. So, and this was, I think, in 2018. We are the independent applicant. That means is an IMGs, including IMGs. 130 questionnaire completed. And 50% was the response. So and then this is the data that shows among those people who matched into neurosurgery. So the people who responded, this is neurosurgery, and this shows the interviews they attended. And if you can see neurosurgery interviews on average, you're looking for around 17 interviews, and it goes all the way up to 30 and goes all the way down to 2. This is among all the applicants, IMGs and IMGs. It's confounded with the high number because of the US senior, but usually we fall into this. I mean, not a lot of IMGs get a lot of interviews, so you're going to be even below that in the low outlier. And then let me show you the next one. This is also the questionnaire showing why you match in that program, why you like that program. And a lot of them, they said because of the location, and that's why the most of the people, and because of the goodness and fitness of the program, reputation of the program, and all that kind of stuff. I'll share that slide with you guys to look at it. I'm not gonna go through all that in depth, but each one has a very different a reason why he matched into that specific program. But we have to keep in mind, for us, we have no options. We have to apply to all programs that are available, and that application usually is costly, at least looking for 2,500, which is 2,500 US. And same thing for the ranking list, showing either preference or because it's well attended, and they ranked it based on interviewed. And this is showing, this is the independent applicant, which is us. Sorry about that. This is the independent applicant. This is the US senior. You can see the percentage and how that affect their application and matching process. And this is the median number of interviews to the independent applicants. So you can see that we fall here, as I mentioned earlier. So this is the people who match into neurosurgery from IMGs and then US IMGs. And this is the people who didn't match. You can see the median number of applications submitted is 801. And the people who didn't match, the number of application was submitted is 78. So what that means is the more programs you apply to, the higher chance you're going to get matched into. And this is the number of interviewed offer. 8 interviews, as I mentioned, is a very, very low number of interviews. And this is the people who didn't match only have 2 interviews. And this is the number of the interviews that was attending among those, 7 interviews versus 2 interviews. And this is the median program that was ranked 11 and 12. But if you see the US students, they apply to less programs, they have more interviews because this is what they usually, most of the programs have to offer them because they are US senior and they usually have very good research experience, clinical background, as well as the scores. And this is some data showing in case if you didn't match, what are you going to do? Showing the people who match and people who didn't match. Same thing with independent applicants. If you didn't match, some of them say they're going to go through the SUP process, which is the 2 weeks or 1 week window after the match to see if there's any unfilled program, and they can just apply through that programs. Some of them, they decided to apply for next year. Some of them decided to do non-clinical training. Some of them decided to re-enter the match for next year or do a graduate training. But most of them, they just go through the match or do clinical year or do some sort of research experience for a year. This is a slide showing the scores for step 1. This is neurosurgery. You can see this is the bar where show the scores, and this is the step 1 is for the people who match and didn't match. You see the people who match, they have usually higher score. You're looking for some near 250s. And this is the people who didn't match. The score is not low. It's still there, but it's mid 30s, mid 40s. So the higher score, the higher chance you're going to get matched. This is the same thing for CK. Neurosurgery here, you can see the scores. You're looking for almost 50s for step 2 CK, and for the people who didn't match, the score was in some mid 30s too. Again, the higher score for step 1 and step 2 CK, the best chance that you're going to match. And this is the number of research experience for the people who match and people who didn't match. You can see neurosurgery here. Number of research experience, not publication. That means I work as a research fellow for 5 consecutive years, like 1 month every year. That's considered research experience. So you can see neurosurgery, the people who match, they have 5.2 on average experience compared to 4.4 for the people who didn't match. This is the number of abstract, presentation, publication. This is for the US allopathic seniors. This is not for us, but I'm just showing you those people when they apply on average, see how the application is strong enough for them to get matched. So we have to do more than what they did for us to get matched into the program. Otherwise, the application wouldn't stand. So this is the number of abstract, presentation, and publication. And you can see neurosurgery pretty much is the highest among most of the specialties. You need at least on average 18.3 to match. And the people who didn't match, they have an average 8.9. So the higher number, the better chance for you to match. The number of work experience, that means you work in clinical service, you did some rotations and all that. Neurosurgery pretty much is comparable to most of the specialties, but is higher than the people who are matched for sure, 3.2 versus 2.5. And then the number of volunteering experience in neurosurgery also is comparable, but is almost equivalent between both. So that has some impact, but it's not big impact on your application. But you have to have some volunteering experience in your application when you match. You don't want to just leave it blank, because if you leave it blank, that means it's you're not just dedicated to do your curriculum. You have to have some free time to do some volunteering. And this is the slide showing how many of those who match had a like graduate degree. This is a PhD. This is other graduate degree like masters. You can see neurosurgery is considered one of the highest. The people who match, they have 14 of them. They have at least a PhD. But not necessarily. But 4 of them they have PhD, but they didn't match. Same thing for the second degrees. 20 of them had master degrees at least, and 28 of them they didn't match, even with master degrees. So the second degree is almost desirable and something great to have it in your CV, and that's going to increase your chance to match. And this is summary from all the stuff that we just discussed. So step 1 score on average 245. This is from 2018 data. And a step 2 CK score, you're looking for 249. So as I mentioned earlier, above 240, that means you have a very good chance to match. The number of research experience on average is 5.2. The number of abstract, presentation, and publication is 18.3. The number of work experience is 3.2. Volunteering experience is 3. This is pretended to the people who's U.S. graduate. What that means is they have honor degrees. It's called AOL members. And how many of them they have PhD, and how many of them they have the graduate degrees. If you just look at that, this is the average score for unmatched, score for matched, and see the difference. It's not a huge difference, but it's make a very significant change in your application, and make it more desirable to be called for interview. So this is the scores for the step 1. You can see the scores is here. The higher score, the better chance to match. If you score below 230, you can have less chance. Most of people scores in the 240s, as you see here. And this is step 2. CK is the same thing. Most of the people scores above 240s. Still, people matched below that, but the number is low compared to the higher score. But those people usually have a very good application. I mean, they have research experience, they have second degrees, and they have other stuff in their application to make it strong enough for them to apply. This is a slide showing the probability for your score, and this is the probability, and this is the score. The higher score you have, the higher probability you're going to match. No question about it. And this is the number of research projects. You can see here the 5 or more projects, 4 project, 2 project. The higher number, the high percentage of matching. Same thing for the number of presentations in abstract. The higher number you have, the higher percentage for you going to get matched. And you can see the people who matched is lower and lower when you keep going down on that scale. The people who only have one project, is only 4 of them got matched compared to 103 who has 5 or more. And this is the number of work experience, as we spoke. It has its effect. If you have 5 more work experience, it's going to affect your application. Same thing with volunteering experience. 10 or more, usually it's affect, but usually roughly if you have 6 or more, 5 or more, that's considered great volunteering experience. But this is going to be a secondary factor in your application. Not a big thing, but if you don't have it, it's okay. You can work on that piece. This is the AOO membership, but this is not to us, because those usually the people who graduated from medical school in the US who's having honor degree, and this is how much of them they have PhD and second degrees. You can see the higher percentage of matching if you have a second degree. This is a study that was published this year, actually, in World Neurosurgery. They looked at the international medical graduate in the US in neurosurgery, and you can see by training. I can share that study for you guys who's interested. You can see how many residents in each year, from 1st to 7 years. This is in all the programs in the US. So currently, it's only 87 across all the years in the US. They are IMGs, and this is where they're from. 14 is from Lebanon, which is most of them. India is 7. Each country of these, they have 4. Each country of these, they have 3 residents. Each country of these, they have 2, and each country of these, they only have 1. So I mean, it's a very, very competitive specialty, and people across the world they apply beside the US senior. So in order for you to match as one of those people match, you have to have very outstanding application. And this is showing where those people matched. This is what I mentioned. If you need any help with the sub-I rotation or a wave rotation, you have to think about those states. The why, that means there is no IMGs ever match in these locations, which is, I mean, it has some political reasons, but you have to focus about those locations. This is Louisiana, where I'm doing my residency, Tulane. This is Texas, has a very good number. This is Arizona, has a very good number. California has a very good number. Washington and also has a very good number. New York, Wisconsin, there. Iowa, and you have to think about those. So Northeast, and then they have Southeast, South, and then the West, the Midwest. Some of it you can match, but most of it you don't have to apply to those programs if you don't have to. do waste your money, but I mean, I would recommend for you to as much as you can to most of the programs. This is a very busy slide. I'm sorry, showing all the programs in the US and how much percentage of those match into neurosurgery. You can see, look, for instance, this is 1.9, this is Barrow, which is P&I, which is considered one of the best programs in the United States. It has 1.9% out of 100% of the people who match into neurosurgery, and it can go as low as 0 point something. So it's not a lot. I mean, you're looking for one program has 1% of almost near 2% IMG. So if you have 14 residents, or if you have 21 residents, it depends. Some programs they have 1 resident each year. Some programs have 2 each year. Some programs they have 3 each year. So you're looking for at least one resident out of the 7, or maybe 2 residents out of the 14, or maybe nothing at all. And this is a slide showing also the distribution across the world, and most of the 87 people is from Middle East, and mainly Lebanon. So, and this is the country shows who matched into neurosurgery currently, who's doing residency currently. This is the country highlighted, showing the countries, and you can see here the count. The darker you goes, I mean, the higher number. Lebanon here is kind of standing because there's I think 14 residents in the US just from Lebanon. Before I start my experience, any questions?
So there are about 7 questions in the Q&A box. Do you want to read them, doctor, or shall I read them to you?
Yeah, sure, no problem. I don't know how to check that. Please feel free. You can go ahead and read it.
Okay. Are you a resident in USA or a fellow?
No, I'm a resident. I'm doing residency. I did medical. I'm gonna come into that in my experience and details, but yeah, I'm doing my residency. I'm 3rd year. I'm starting my 4th year in July in about 2 weeks.
Is there a website that lets us know the contacts of each hospital to do electives in the US?
Oh, of course. I mean, I can share with you, Mohammed, some list later on from those programs. I'm from the country I'm from the states. That map that I showed, which program they have the higher chance for you guys to get some sub-I and some internship and all that. I mean, you have to play that very smart. You have to go to places they are very open to in IMGs and all that.
Okay, I'm a 6th year medical student. Is it better to take the USMLE Step 1 this year, or do I wait until it becomes on pass only?
No, I would wait to get a pass and fail.
Can electives or some training programs be counted as work experience?
10 electives? Yeah, so let me just rephrase what I said. So clinical experience, it could be US clinical experience versus non-US clinical experience. A lot of people, as I mentioned earlier in my, when I started, people doesn't know the attendings back home. So you have to work with someone here in the US that will consider a US clinical experience. Doing electives back home is great, but it's not as good as doing electives here in the US. And even that will give you the opportunity to have letter of recommendations to apply for the match. Because letter of recommendation from home, believe me, it's not gonna get you anywhere.
Okay, how to know which program is best for me to apply in the US?
There is nothing called best program for us. I mean, unfortunate. We have to apply to every single program. That's unfortunate a fact. Because we're not in good shape to choose which program we have to apply to. So you have to choose all the programs and apply to all the programs. Priority for those programs who are open to IMGs, but applying to selectively to some programs, I don't think it's a good idea. As I show in my slide, the higher number of programs you apply to, the higher number of interviews you're gonna get.
Do you need a master's degree to get matched to neurosurgery? If yes, what are the majors?
I mean, to be honest with you, I did 2 master's degrees. I'm going to come into that in my experience, but the short answer is yes, especially for us as an IMGs. For the US graduate, no. The higher number of degrees you have, the better chance for you to match into neurosurgery. but it's not necessary. It's not if you have other stuff in your CV and good experience and good scores and good research applications. I don't think you need it, but you have to compensate that if you are lacking in some component of your application, then it's going to be a very good supporter.
Is the exposure different from an IMG to a US resident as a neurosurgery?
No, and I didn't go into the neurosurgery exactly training in a depth because of the time frame. But I mean, you're going to have the same chance as everyone. In the US, we have a very standard case log among all the programs in the US. You're not going to get graduated from your training without finishing all the minimum cases.
Okay. If I did my residency in Canada, can I do the fellowship in the USA?
Yeah, you can, but you're not going to be board certified. You're going to be just having fellowship. You're not going to be American board certified. You're going to be Canadian board certified. You're going to have fellowship in the US, but not American board certified.
If I didn't match to a program of my preference, should I join any other program in the US or join a program of my preference in Saudi?
طبعا هذا السؤال اقدر اقول لك انه اسال نفسك انت ايش تبغى بامانه. يعني انا عن نفسي يوم جيت امريكا ما قدمت على اي برنامج لا في السعوديه ولا في كندا، لان ابغى امريكا وفي راس امريكا، ولما اخذت امريكا يعني ما it's depend on you what you believe in. فما اقدر اقول لك انه هل تروح السعوديه او لا، انت ايش تبغى بالضبط. اذا حابب take your chance apply, it's great. If you don't want to be wasting time and just take the easy route, as long as you have passion to nurture. But overall, I think it depends on you and your goals and how much time you can sacrifice.
Would doing an elective in Canada be helpful in the American match?
Yes, but it's not as a US. If you're gonna go to Canada, you have to go into prominent places, a good and also very good people and known people in neurosurgery. Then yes. Otherwise, if you go into small people or small places, and at that point, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's going to be just wasting of time and wasting of money. If you're thinking about going to Canada, then that's fine. But if you think about coming to the US, I think US it's going to be the way to go.
For a fifth-year medical student, what do I do to increase my chances of getting accepted?
For what's the question? Sorry again.
For a fifth-year medical student, what do I do to increase my chances of being accepted?
I'm not sure if I get the question right. For
a fifth-year medical student.
Oh, fifth year. Sorry about that. I mean, so he's trying to apply for neurosurgery. That's the question.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends where he's going to apply. I mean, if he's looking to apply for neurosurgery in the US, this is what we went through, and this is what he needs to work on from now. You still have some time from now until you graduate. So you're looking for a minimum three years, and in 3 years you can get a lot of stuff done. But if you're looking for somewhere else, Canada or maybe Saudi, I mean at that point it's going to be much easier and less time consuming. But if you're looking for US specifically, then you have to spend more time in getting your stuff and getting your application ready.
Okay. Can we continue with the experience and then get back to the questions and answers after that?
طبعا my experience. انا خريج عبد العزيز. انا سعودي ولا انا امريكي. انا ابن البلد وانا من جيزان. عشت حياتي معظمها في جيزان. خرجت من الثانويه من جيزان، رحت عبد العزيز. في بدايه امري ما قبلت في الطب في عبد العزيز، قبلت صيدله للاسف الشديد. درست اول سنه في الصيدله. طبعا اول سنه في عبد العزيز كانت هذيك الايام نفس السنه، يعني انت اسنان ولا طب ولا صيدله تدرس نفس المنهج نفس الكوريكولم. الحمد لله يعني درست وجبت معدل جدا عالي، والاول على الدفعه وقتها. حولت الطب سنه ثانيه، خرجت من عبد العزيز بامتياز مع مرتبه الشرف في عام 2012. طبعا انا كنت ابغى نيوروسيرجري وانا من سنه ثالث، ما كنت ابغى شيء غير النيوروسيرجري. غلطتي اني ما كنت يعني متجهز للاسف الشديد. شيء كويس انكم انتوا جايز تسووا الشيء اللي انت قاعد تسووه حاليا، انه تثقفوا الطلاب وتعرفوهم بالريزيدنسيز وايش الشيء اللي ممكن يشوفوه وايش اللي يسمعوه عشان يجهزوا انفسهم. للاسف الشديد ما كان في عندي اي good mentor. تخرجت من الجامعه وانا ما عندي لا ستيبس ولا يحزنون. طبعا رجعت جيزان، قدمت على وظيفه معيد، اخذت نيوروسيرجري في جيزان، اخذت بعثتي، تزوجت ومشيت. جيت امريكا في عام 2012 تقريبا، بدات في كابلن، قعدت في كابلن تقريبا قرابه 14 شهر. خلصت فيها كل ستيبس الحمد لله، اخذت فيها درجات مره عاليه. بعدها هذا الكلام كان في شيكاغو طبعا. بعدها قدمت على research fellowship، بس وقتها أنا I played what I just mentioned to you guys. You have to play smart in which programs you have to apply to. طبعا اللوكيشن كان يفرق معايا. شيكاغو كانت جدا برد، ما قدرت أعيش فيها أبدا، لا أنا ولا زوجتي، فقررنا نروح مكان شوي دافي. لويزيانا كانت محطتي اللي أنا اخترتها، مع أنه أنا جاني أكثر من قبول في أكثر مكان، حتى من هوبكنز في research fellowship، لكن ما رحت. فقررت إني أنا أجي في آشنر وتولين اسوي ريسيرش فellowship. هذا الكلام كان في عام 2014. طبعا برنامج كان وقتها يقبل شخص واحد كل سنه. دخلت عندهم ريسيرش fellowship، قعدت تقريبا 2.5 سنين. As I mentioned guys, if you're interested in neurosurgery in the US you have to sacrifice. طبعا قعدت 2.5 سنين اعمل فيها ريسيرش fellowship. الحمد لله يعني نشرت ابحاث، book chapters, books, presentations for AANS و CNS. يعني لما قدمت وقتها لا الحمد يعني ما بقول نمبر، لكنه يعني number of abstract presentations والاشياء اللي ذكرتها كانت تقريبا 9 أضعاف الافرج from US students. ولله الحمد اخذت الفالوشيب، خلصت الفالوشيب. اثناء ما كنت عامل ريسيرش فالوشيب عملت 2 ماستر ديجريز في جامعه تولين. عملت ماستر اوف ريسيرش، ماستر اوف ساينس اند كلينيكال ريسيرش، ماستر اوف ساينس اند ريسيرش ميثودولوجي. كانت كل واحده فيهم سنه، خلصتهم 2 مع بعض. لما خلصت الريسيرش فالوشيب لحد الان هذا كله ما قدمت على النيوروسيرجري عشان تكونوا في الصوره يعني. بعد ما خلصت الريسيرش فellowship وقتها البروجرام بدا بوزيشن يسموه بري ريزيدنسي كلينيكال فellowship، انك انت يكون عندك كلينيكال اكسبيرينس. فانا وقتها شفت انه الحمد لله اشتغلت على معظم اجزاء الابلكيشن حقتي ما عدا ما عندي يو اس كلينيكال اكسبيرينس. فحبيت اني اعوض هذا النقص بان انا ادور مكان اقدر اشتغل فيه. فلله الحمد القسم في هذيك الفتره اثناء ما انا خلصت الريسيرش فellowship فتح pre-residency clinical fellowship اللي هو سنه كامله ما بين الجنرال سيرجري ما بين النيوروسيرجري. طبعا هو عن طريق الماتش كمان، بس انه ما هو نيوروسيرجري. اخذت 6 شهور نيوروسيرجري و6 شهور في الجنرال سيرجري. بدات فيها في عام 2016 في جولاي الين نهايه جون 2017. طبعا في هذيك الفتره في سبتمبر دخلت الايراس ابلكيشن وقدمت، وهذه كان اول مره اقدم فيها على النيوروسيرجري. طبعا في هذيك الفتره الحمد لله يعني عندي letter recommendations، عندي research experience، عندي 2 master degrees، عندي good scores. فما حسيت نفسي انه ناقصني اي حاجه، فقلت اتوكل على الله واقدم. فمن 2012 الى 2016 ما قدمت ابدا على النيوروسيرجري في امريكا، بس اللهم قاعد اجهز نفسي عشان تسنح الفرصه واقدم على النيوروسيرجري. لانه لو قدمت ولا سمح الله يعني ما متشت، مش كويس لك انك انت ري ابلاينج the year after، لانه ايراس يعرف انك انت ري ابلاينج، وسم بروجرامز لما يعرف انك انت ري ابلاينج يكون عليك ريد فلاج. فما حبيت اني اخذ هذه الشانس يعني. فاللي حصل انه انا ابلايد في 2016 اثناء ما انا كنت اسوي الكلينيكال فellowship لمده سنه، ودخلت الماتش والحمد لله جتنا تقريبا 21 انترفيوز، وهي كان اعلى حتى من النمبر الافرج حق الاي ام جيز. في النهايه لما حطيت الرانكينج ليست، طبعا انا حبيت البرنامج هنا عشان اكون معك صادق، حطيتهم رقم 1 لانه حبيت البرنامج، عارف هم قديش يشتغلوا، عارف قديش الكلينيك اكسبيرينس عندنا ما شاء الله سنه ثالث سنه رابع you can do the whole case by yourself. فحبيت ان انا ابقى هنا في نفس البرنامج، فحطيتهم رقم 1 في الليست، والحمد لله منتجت عندهم السنه اللي بعدها في 2017 في جولاي بدأت اول سنه في النيوروسيرجري، وحاليا سنه ثالث وان شاء الله حبدا سنه رابع في 3 أسابيع من الان. فباختصار يعني موجز هذه هي يعني my experience في النيوروسيرجري في امريكا. صح انه there's a lot of time passed and sacrificed but it paid off. فالسؤال الاخ اللي سأل السؤال ارجع نفس النقطه، اقول اذا انت من جد ودك في امريكا وما تبغى غير امريكا، طبعا طبعا هنا لازم تسأل نفسك أنا how many years I have to sacrifice and how many time I have to spend. طبعا أنا لما كنت أعمل research fellowship كان تعدي الليلة والأسبوع والشهر وأنا قاعد على كمبيوتر وعلى أوراق وعلى أبحاث. يمر اليوم ماشي فيه زوجتي بساعتين على بعضها. ف you have to sacrifice a lot صراحة يعني ما هو الموضوع ما هو سهل. Neurosurgery بشكل عام في أي مكان stressful job and stressful field and you have to stand out. And the way to stand out is to have a very good solid background from clinical experience, research experience, وكمان good scores. وهذه هي خبرتي في أو تجربتي بالأحرى في النيوروسيرجري في أمريكا.
الله يجزاك خير دكتور. نرجع للأسئلة. Will residency in my own country count as residency years in the US program?
لا. قصدك انك انت تاخذ ريزيدنسي في السعوديه وتحول امريكا قصدك يعني؟
نخليه يسال سؤال ثاني يعني تعقيبا على السؤال هذا.
اذا قصدك تسوي ريزيدنسي في السعوديه وتيجي تعمل فellowship عادي في ناس يجوا يسووا fellowship بس لازم كمان تخلص ستيبس. حتى الفellowship محتاج له ستيبس للاسف الشديد. حتى لو كان الشخص مثلا عامل ريزيدنسي في كندا وحابب يعمل fellowship في امريكا لازم كمان يكون عندك ستيبس. بس ترانسفير من السعوديه على بروجرام في امريكا طبعا لا.
I'm a fifth year medical student. If I take the exam now, I'll get a score, but by the time I apply, it will be counted as pass or fail. Should I aim for a high score or just a pass score?
No, for step one is just pass and fail. I mean, but for step two SICA, you have to work on a very good high score. If you score in 60s and 70s and 50s, you're going to be in very good shape. And to be honest with you, I think the filter most of the filter is going to be through the step one. But right now, since step one is going to be pass and fail, I think what's going to happen over the next year, most of the applicant, they're going to be screened based on step two CK and also based on research experience. I think now they're going to put some more weight on research. So the more research you have, the better application you're going to get and also a better chance to get called for interview.
Can you please give some examples of the places in Canada that could be helpful in the American match?
Cases in Canada helpful?
Places in Canada.
والله شوف صراحة أنا خبرتي في كندا ترى للأسف الشديد ترى جدا جدا ضئيلة عشان أكون معك صادق. حتى ما عمري قدمت على كندا ولا حتى امتحنت امتحان الام سي سي حقهم هذا لأنه ما كنت أؤمن أساسا بالكنديين بورد عشان أكون معك صادق. أنا ما لأنه يعني احتراما طبعا لكل البرامج أنا من حكم اطلاعي في الموضوع اليو اس بانفسهم قفل الباب على الناس الكنديين زمان قبل 2004 وبين 2003 كان الناس اللي تخرجوا من كندا يقدروا هنا يجوا امريكا ويعملوا اكزام وهم يكونوا دبل بورد سيرتيفايد. طبعا هالموضوع تغير من 2005 و6 الان ما صار فيها الكلام. فالامريكان انفسهم ما معترفين بالكنديين بورد عشان اكون معك صادق. فما عندي الخبره الكافيه بالكنديين بورد عشان اعطيك المعلومه الصحيحه امانه يعني. لكن اذا قصدك على الفالوشيب عادي اي بروجرام ممكن تعمل فيه ريزيدنسي حتى لو كان بالسعوديه تخلص الستبس تيجي تعمل فالوشيب في امريكا.
How many Saudis are doing their neurosurgery residency in the US?
ما في ولا حد، أنا الوحيد بتعرف السعودية.
Okay. Does GPA affect my residency application?
لا طبعا لا. scores GPA ما طبعا لو كان عندك متخرج بأونر ديجري ممتاز، بس لو كان ما عندك ال GPA طبعا قصدي لو ما عندك الأونر ديجري اتس اوكي، بس اللي حيفرق بالنهاية اللي هو اللي يسمى لي steps.
Approximately how many years do I have to work on the CV after graduation?
أنا قلت لكم في البداية لا تغلطوا غلطي إن أنا تقريبا قضيت بما يقارب 5 سنين من حياتي، 4 سنين 5 سنين من حياتي بس عشان أعدل السي في و I work on that piece. وسنة ونص تقريبا كانت بس لحالها في الستبس. فعشان كذا في بداية المحاضرة قلت خذوا ستباتكم أثناء الميديكال سكول، وفي كل سمر تسوي ريسيرش، كل سمر تسوي روتيشنز. By the time you graduate from medical school, you should be good to go. all you need just some tweaking in your application and work on some deficit, and that's it. But working from scratch, it's going to take a lot of time.
Is the competition for fellowship as tough as the residency in neurosurgery in the US?
It depends on which fellowship you're looking for. Most of the fellowship it's here. It's you can just apply to the programs directly. There's no match for neurosurgery in the US for the fellowship, except pediatric neurosurgery. But I mean, some programs they have very competitive fellowships, like skull base and vascular endovascular. But in general, it's fellowship is available.
Can we have your contact information after the lecture?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Let me just go through this. Again, take-home message: scores, publications, evaluations, patients. This is my for-home message, and this is my contact. And محمد عنده رقمي واتساب حقي. حياكم الله شباب في أي وقت وفي الخدمة.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
الله يسعدكم.
Thank you all for attending. The next lecture will be on the same Zoom code on the residency programs in France, the neurosurgery residency program.
محمد لو أحد interested for research أنا ما عندي مانع. I would like them to get involved. أنا ما عندي أي مشكلة. Still, I have a lot of projects going on, and I can have them involved if someone is interested. You can just have them reach out to me.
We will send your email alongside the presentation once I receive it, inshallah.
Okay, fantastic. شكرا يا شباب بالتوفيق. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mansour. طبعا اللي يسألون كل شيء حيكون بإذن الله موجود على التليجرام شانل حقتنا، موجودة على حسابنا تويتر حصلنا. أو طبعا اللي يشوفون اللايف ستريم on YouTube it will be in the description بإذن الله.